Hello everybody, welcome back to Let's Play Dark Souls. This is going to be a little bit of a different episode. So I mentioned on the last video that we were probably going to go fight Ceaseless Discharge in the Demon Ruins, but I have changed my mind due to popular demand, basically. So a lot of people in the comments have been asking me to make a return to the Northern Undead Asylum, so that's actually exactly what I'm going to do. Astute viewers may have noticed that when I take this elevator ride, occasionally you can catch a glimpse of this platform that we're going to roll onto right here, and this is how we're actually going to get to the Undead Asylum again. I really think the Undead Asylum is one of the coolest areas in Dark Souls because it's totally optional, but it's probably the only area in the game where if you backtrack to it, it's very, very different than the first time you go. I mean, they add new enemies, including a new boss, which I think this actually is the only area where you can actually do that. Now just execute a tactical roll to get up there, and then we're going to pick up an item, which is going to be essential, well, essential in a certain way anyway, at least to pick up some optional items, and there are a lot of optional items in the Undead Asylum. Also worth noting, I am doing post-commentary on this one. I did live commentary, but for some reason, the audio track I recorded, oh god, that was a pretty poor roll on my part there. We'll just S this up and then try that again. The audio track that I recorded was like 2 seconds longer than the video that was recorded, so I don't understand what happened there. Hopefully it won't become a commonplace issue, but you know, if it does, I like doing post-commentary as well. It's more relaxing. It gives me a chance to sit down here, you know, I can have a cup of coffee and I can just talk with a little bit more of a deliberate, I don't know, mentality to it. Anyway, so we're going to try to go up this elevator again, roll off, tactical roll or jump onto the spike there. I guess it's another buttress. And then I can demonstrate how we get to the Undead Asylum again. So it's a good roll. You can also jump off there, but the jumping is a little bit finicky. In Dark Souls, there is no dedicated jump button, so you have to basically run using B, or I guess circle on the PS3, and then tap it as you run. Like, when you want to jump, just tap it again. It works most of the time, but some of the times, for example, people who have played Dark Souls know that there's a ring of sacrifice, like basically at the beginning of the game. All you have to do is execute a pretty difficult to jump across a gap that will definitely kill you if you fall into it, and you quite oftentimes just end up rolling off the edge to your death. So we're up in the crow's nest here, and we got a prop to curl up into a ball. I always thought with the Fang Boar Helm, we kind of look like a rival bird. I'm pretty sure the crow would just come back and peck us to death. But, indeed that is not the case. We get another cutscene, and these are kind of few and far between in Dark Souls, so it's always nice when it happens. And I believe all of these are rendered in the in-game engine. Except for maybe the opening cutscene, which looks a little bit better than the stuff that you normally come across. And I'm just talking out of my ass there. That could be true, but it could be, you know, just total malarkey. Don't get too much of a chance to use that word anymore. So, I'm doing the Undead Asylum pretty late in the game. In fact, when people do choose to go back to this area, and it is fairly common because there are some really good utility items that you can find in here, they usually tend to do it a little bit early. Sometimes I would say before Anor Londo, but definitely before, like, the Four Kings and before, who did I just beat? Seath the Scaleless. But that's the cool thing about Dark Souls, is that you can choose to do things, you know, basically however you want. There are suggested things that'll make the game a little bit more difficult for you, and I guess you could possibly say a little bit more genuine or valid in that case. For example, you wouldn't want to do this, like, right before you fight Gwyn at the very end of the game, because it'll probably be too easy for you. I'm just going to check on my equipment here. I was checking to see if I had upgraded my Quelaag's Fury Sword, or if I was still using the default one. A couple of people have mentioned in the comments, hey Northern, you should go get some Demon Titanite so you can upgrade your Quelaag's Fury Sword because you're not doing enough damage. I actually totally agree with you. I could probably beat the game as is with my Quelaag's Fury Sword. But, or Quelaag's Fury Sword plus 2, I should say, but it's definitely worth upgrading. Demon Titanite is really hard to come by. You get one for every one of those enormous lightning-shooting Titanite demons that you kill. But, there's not that many of those in the game. There's only one that respawns, but we're going to come across him in the, well, basically the next area we go to. So, the other thing that's changed with the Undead Asylum, not just those fire hollows at the very beginning, we actually have Black Knights now, so I'm just going to parry and riposte them. And I should be okay on them, because, you know, when I did all that farming off-camera in Anor Londo before we fought Ornstein and Smo, I was practicing against Silver Knights, so I was just practicing basically parrying and riposting. And these guys drop Titanite chunks. I forget what the other ones drop in terms of Titanite. It's either a blue Titanite chunk or a white Titanite chunk, and they also sometimes occasionally drop their weapons. And Black Knight weapons are among the most common weapons in the game to be used if you are a strength build. I see them all the time in PvP, and yeah, for people asking, I am going to definitely show some PvP. I'm just not sure when yet. I might do all the story stuff, maintain my relatively low level that I'm at right now, and then go show some PvP. So now we have to fight Oscar. He's the guy, if you remember from the first episode. If you haven't seen the first episode, you should probably go back and watch this because it'll give you some context for the area that we're in. This is the guy that gives us the Estus flasks. And also the key that allows us to fight the Stray Demon. So he's gone hollow now, as he suggested he would. And this is why, like, when you kill him, he says why. If you kill him before he goes hollow, like the first time through the Undead Asylum. And I always wondered why he says that, because he's always like, hey, if you don't kill me, I'm going to come back and kill you. And then you stab him in the face, and he's like, oh, come on, dude, that was a dick move. So you can see he's two-handing his weapon. I'm actually not sure what it is, but it does damage through my shield, so it must be pretty strong. But on the whole, this guy's pretty easy. I'm just going to circle around and look for a backstab like I'm a total scrub PvP player, I guess. And wait for an opening. And then just go to town on him. Alright, so he dies. I forget what he gives us. Crest shield, maybe? Yep, he gives us the crest shield. And I'm not sure about the properties of that, but I hear that people use it all the time online, so, or all the time in PvE, I should say. So, I don't know. Maybe I'll check that out in a future video, but I am pretty happy with my Silver Knight shield. So we're going to pop open this door here, which I believe will give us access to this bonfire. We'll rest at that, even though I haven't kindled it, because, you know, kindling it would actually give me 10 Estus flasks instead of the 7 that I have right now. But oh well, we'll kindle the bonfire closer to the boss we're going to fight in this area. So we'll go down into where our previous cell was. It would help if I could actually get up the, the incline here, instead of just rolling aimlessly into the side of the brick. Now there will be a pretty cool story-based item. Half story-based item, I guess you could say, because it does have gameplay effects as well. That will be contained in our old cell, but first we have to deal with this Black Knight. Obviously that was probably a pretty poor parry, and as was that, and I was trying to remember when I recorded this video how things go against this guy. I'm a little bit skeptical myself. That shield bash attack can't be parried. You know what? I'm just gonna backstab this guy, because this is definitely not the way I want to do this fight. Oh, I have my bow equipped instead of my Pyromancer's Flame. Alright, go for the backstab. And then while he's down, Estus up. Perfect. I'm like coaching myself through time now. Alright, another set of awful parries. Wow, okay. Definitely would be a good time to chug an Estus. Oh, well that would actually be a terrible time to chug an Estus. I think I remember now that I actually pressed the X button to chug the Estus, but sometimes there's a delay on the input. I'm not sure if that's due to the, you know, maybe the Xbox 360 wireless controller starting to run out of batteries, or maybe it's just something with Dark Souls. It seems to happen fairly frequently with Dark Souls, and I've seen other people complain about it. But oh well, you know, death is not that big of a deal. Remember, I did just rest at that bonfire a second ago. The Black Knights don't respawn, so I'll just have to go fight this guy, and then after we fight this guy, I think we'll be able to deal with the boss. So, Return to the Undead Asylum is actually a fairly short area. There might be one more Black Knight, I can't remember. I think this is the last one. It's actually a pretty short area, but it's definitely well worth going back to because of the items that you pick up. Like, I've already picked up some Titanite chunks, and Titanite chunks are extremely difficult to farm. So it's much better to possibly pick them up wherever you can. There we go. That was much better. Now I'm angry. The angry parries are always the best. Now back up, try it again. The like overhead strike that he does is really easily telegraphed. Yeah, as you can see right there. So we'll just stab him through the gut, sort of light him on fire, and we will be able to move back to our cell. Oh, he drops another red Titanite chunk. I believe that's for upgrading. What is red Titanite up for upgrading? Chaos weapons, I think. But I've never actually used a chaos weapon, and we haven't gotten to the blacksmith that actually allows us to make chaos weapons, and I don't think we've even gotten the chaos ember. So, you know, I guess we'll talk about chaos weapons when we get to them. Now, we are going to go back out. Do I have to climb that ladder again? Absolutely. But I picked up the Peculiar Doll. If you remember, in the first or second Anor Londo video, we were in the kind of cathedral-type room with the painting. I said you can examine the painting and enter a new world, but I didn't have the item that actually allowed me to enter that world. The Peculiar Doll will allow me to enter that world. So that's another optional area. Kind of similar to the Northern Undead Asylum, or Return to the Northern Undead Asylum anyway, so I'll definitely be checking that out at some point. Again, lots of cool items there, and some, you know, cool story-based stuff. Really cool weapon you can pick up from the painted world. But again, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So these guys are just your standard hollows. Now remember, we did pick up that key from on top of the building in Firelink Shrine. The way we'll be using that is coming up in just about a minute here. Obviously, first we're going to deal with these hollows. Frankly, I should just two-hand my weapon and run in with the sword ablazing. That was a pun, actually unintended, because it's a fire sword, get it? Ha ha! But you'll see that in a second. So remember, when we came through here the first time, we went into this room, there was only one guy, and this guy was essentially here just to teach us how to parry. Now there's a sword guy and a spear guy, but, you know, big deal. Should be able to take out the sword guy first, because the sword guy AI is much less good, basically. I just killed him through his shield, which is always an embarrassing way to go down. How about spear guy? What do you got for me, spear guy? You can goad him into attacking, usually by, yeah, just attacking him once. Get the backstab on him. One backstab will be enough to kill him. And then we'll be able to open this door, finally. And I believe there's only one item for us to pick up here, and that item is the rusted iron ring. But let's see if I am indeed correct. Spent like 30 minutes trying to jump up these stairs when I first came through here. Not on the Let's Play character, on my first actual character. Yeah, the rusted iron ring is really useful, particularly if you get it for Blighttown, or if you're looking to, you know, do co-op at Blighttown. Simply because it actually allows you to have your normal movement speed on uneven terrain. So for example, the swamp, which normally slows you down, now you can just run through it. You'll probably have to use a lot less moss. There's a few other areas. For example, if you're going to the Ash Lake and you want to fight the Hydra, this will allow you to walk on the water with normal movement speed, I believe. And what was the other one? Well, you know, there's a couple of swamps in the game. If you want to get the Titanite demons at the bottom of Sen's Fortress, it's a good item to have on you. I'm going to reverse hollowing here. Remember, I did die, so I lost my humanity for that. The reason I'm reverse hollowing isn't so I can summon any help. I've never actually seen any summon signs in the Undead Asylum. It's more so I can kindle the bonfire, get up to 10 Estus flasks, because we are about to fight the boss, and the boss is kind of a pain in the ass. Sometimes. I mean, I say this about every boss, but I'd say he's one of the harder bosses in the game, just because I don't fight him that often. So obviously it's a good idea to equip my Pyromancy Flame, plus 15. Definitely have to murder these hollows first. There should be one more hiding over here. Yes, there is. Alright, take him out fairly easily. Then we're going to walk across this floor, which, you know, again, if you're astute, very observant, you may have noticed that I didn't want to walk across before. That's because it crumbles and sends you directly into the boss fight with a stray demon. So this is basically the Asylum demon on steroids. He has a few different attacks, which you'll be able to see. He has that 2-hit combo with his Grant there. I'm not sure what weapon that is. He has this kind of shockwave that he sends down, and if you're too close and you don't have your shield up, you'll actually get hit by basically the wind off that. He also has a few AoE fire attacks, which we're going to see, and those are going to be the most deadly for us, because our shield is not fantastic at fire resistance. Oh man, he just sat right on top of me. Obviously, if you're directly under him when he sits on you, your shield isn't going to do a whole lot. Alright. There's that 2-hit combo, I believe. Or no, just the 1 hit. Okay. If you get too close to him, he's obviously going to do that flying and then coming down trick. But basically what you want to do is kind of stay by his tail. That'll be his, yeah, AoE fire attack. You really just want to back up for that one. He always does it from one side to the other side, so you can tell if it's going to be a physical strike. Oh, that's the big AoE fire attack, which may still hit us. You want to be fairly far behind him. We're just going to hack away at his tail. I'm not sure if you can actually get a weapon by killing his tail first. I don't think you can. But we're just going to basically cut his ball sack off, which is a pretty good strategy for fighting almost all the dragons in this game. I mean, you saw the same thing with Seath. You just want to stay not around the mouth area, and you should be okay. And of course, not around the sitting area here either. There's an example of how you can get hit by that shockwave. I'm being a little bit cocky here, two-handing my weapon. I should probably just keep my shield out and not get so close. Play a little bit more cautiously, but on the bright side, you can certainly say it was not a mistake that I kindled that bonfire. So we're just going to heal again. We might want to use 2, now we'll just use 1 Estus. A number of people have mentioned, hey, Northernlion, you should really get some more Firekeeper Souls and upgrade your Estus Flask. You're totally right, but also, you know, if you watch the Binding of Isaac Let's Play, you know that I'm really lazy and I don't want to do that much backtracking to get them. I mean, there's one in Blighttown, which is a total pain in the ass to get, because it's surrounded by those, like, toxic dart blowers. There's one in New Londo Ruins, which is actually fairly easy to get. Or I could just start murdering bonfire keepers, like the Chaos Witch, or the the brass armored set woman in Anor Londo. Unfortunately, that means I can't warp from those bonfires anymore, which would really limit my mobility, so I don't want to do that necessarily. But anyway, it's working out alright for me thus far. I mean, haven't run into too many problems from just having Estus Flask +1. So the fight's going pretty well so far. I don't really foresee a chance of me dying here as long as I play smart and don't run into the AoE fire attack like I seem to do every single time. But that's okay, still got 4 Estus left. Boss is probably about 60-70% dead. Ooh, I gotta stop taking hits like that. Maybe I do actually die against this boss. It's a perfect opportunity for me to heal. Could have gone for some hits there as well, but you know, health is the most important thing. That's why I put all my points in vitality and endurance, right? I thought for sure he was going to sit on me again there. Just cut open his butt cheeks. That's the AoE fire attack. Should definitely get out of the way of that. It's amazing how much easier it is when you're watching yourself play than when you're actually playing yourself. I'm starting to understand those comments where people are like, Northern, you're an idiot. What are you doing this for? Trust me, it's harder when you're talking and playing the game at the same time. I'm just going to circle around. That's a 2-hit combo, which means I should be able to get in a 2-hit combo of my own. Just back up for this AoE fire attack. That was perfect distance for once. There's another AoE fire attack. Thought I was maybe a little bit too close there, but I guess, you know, never question my own judgment in that situation. Should have just gone for the hit there because he only has one more until he dies, but anyway, there he goes. So the Stray Demon has died, and he will give us a Titanite Slab, if I could actually pick that up. Titanite Slab is really useful because it is, I believe for all equipment, it is the item that you need to upgrade it to its final state. So for example, if I had Uchigatana plus 14, or a Lightning Uchigatana plus 4, which is the second to last, the penultimate state of that weapon, then I would want to use a Titanite Slab to take it to a Lightning Uchigatana plus 5, or an Uchigatana plus 15. Titanite Slab is extremely rare. They do drop from a few one-time encounters in the game, but other than that, you can also farm them, but farming them is a pain in the ass because it takes forever. Where do I want to go here? I've gotten totally turned around. Go back through the window with the broken bars. There you go. Okay. The way you can farm them is, if you recall, there are those Dark Wraith enemies in the Abyss, just before, or not in the Abyss, in New Londo Ruins just before the Abyss. And if you have 10 humanity to increase your item discovery to max, and you wear the gold, what is it, Covetous Gold Serpent Ring, which also increases your item discovery, that'll give you your actual max ceiling of item discovery. You could be able to get some Titanite slabs there, otherwise it's just going to be pure luck. You know, you could be farming there for a long time, too. So we're going to rest at this bonfire. I'm not sure if I warp back to Firelink Shrine or if I actually take the crow back. I guess I take the crow back. And actually, those Dark Wraiths are really good for farming Titanite chunks as well, which is nice because those are, I wouldn't say more useful necessarily, but you need more of them in order to upgrade your weapon. The slabs are extremely valuable just because of their rarity, essentially. But, you know, getting your weapon or your armor upgraded to plus 15, or upgraded to its maximum, is pretty important as well. So we're just going to murder these hollows. I don't have to be as cautious as I was in the way in, because, you know, I've kindled that bonfire. I have full 10 Estus, and there's no enemies left in the entire level, basically, except for these guys. So I could have just warped back to Firelink Shrine. But instead, I guess I am going to come up here, curl up like a ball. I'm not running for some reason. Oh, I guess probably because I don't want to fall off the edge. I should really stop questioning my own play. That's a nasty habit. Oh, one thing I mentioned is, or one thing I wanted to mention, is that if you actually leave something in this nest, you can sometimes trade with the crow. So I don't know any of the specifics of trading because I've never done it, but I see it talked about online all the time. So essentially I could leave, like, rubbish in here, and then the crow would come back and bring me some Demon Titanite or something. And if you're worried why your trading isn't working, you have to do it here. You can't do it at the nest in Firelink Shrine. And again, all of that is secondhand knowledge, so if you're angry at me and it doesn't work, don't yell at me, just Google it. So we're going to go back to Firelink Shrine, and at this point I guess it's kind of worth talking about what I'm going to do next. There's a few routes we could take, which is one of the things I really like about the late game of Dark Souls, is that you can do things in any order you choose. We still have to go to Tomb of the Giants and the Catacombs, which is down by the graveyard area, which I mentioned is a new player trap, essentially, when you first start the game. And we also have to go to Demon Ruins and, oh god, nice roll, Demon Ruins and Lost Izalith. And we should go to the Painted World as well. There's also an area called the Great Hollow, followed by an area called Ash Lake, which we could go to, or I could just do random miscellaneous stuff like getting Bonfire Keeper Souls. Or I could actually fight an optional boss in Anor Londo called Gwendolyn. What I'm actually going to do on the next episode is go to the Demon Ruins and pretty much clear it out. If I recall, in the next video I fight a lot of bosses, which should be pretty fun because it's going to be pretty exciting. But anyway, that's going to basically do it for this episode of Dark Souls. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.